and good afternoon. It's Shirley with Spirit of Matter. And this is Soul Hour. We're 5 minutes to Venus hour. So sun day, sun hour. And we just crossed the Venus Cazimi. So Venus is already 2 minutes ahead of the sun, backwards from the sun. What is Venus Cazimi? Venus Cazimi is the exact moment when Venus conjuncts with the sun as we see it from the earth. Of course, it's all an illusion because, and it isn't because it's the way we look from the earth. Okay, so when we're looking from the earth and we try to locate where is the sun, where is Venus, now Venus is basically on the same degree at almost minute as the sun. Venus is retrograde. And this particular moment in time is connected with the story of Inanna going into the underworld, because there are many versions of the story. One of them was Inanna said, I want to see what happens to people after they die. And so she is basically going to meet her sister, which is Ereshkigal, which is the queen of the underworld. But there's another thing about Ereshkigal. Ereshkigal is the woman that was not invited to the party. She was, if you know the song, The Lady is a Tramp, and that talks about that woman that won't make pretend. If she doesn't like you, she will tell you. She would not fake it for you. She would not get up with all the other women to clean after the man at the end of the meal. And therefore, the lady is a tramp. So Ereshkigal is a bit of an outcast for this reason, but in the underworld she marries Nergal, and together they rule the underworld. They rule what the people who are outcasts from society, the people who are dying. Okay? If you take it to another point of view, if in tribal communities, all kinds of tribal communities, if you did not have a tribe claiming for you, you were basically out of any assistance, and so you would die. And so expelling a person or expelling a woman from society or not inviting her in basically means this woman is not protected, she doesn't have food, or this man. Okay, but we're talking about two women here. But he basically doesn't have the means to survive. So we can understand the rage, right? Okay, we can understand the rage. And as Venus is going retrograde and invisible, so the phases of Venus that I've seen associated with the Ereshkigal are Venus going retrograde in general, okay, the Venus backwards. And when we are rethinking our value, Venus invisible, in particular when we don't see Venus in the sky, and Venus as the evening star. Okay, Inanna is the Venus as the morning star, Venus as the evening star, where she will now be born again as the evening star. So we will have more Ereshkigal to go with until basically the next Venus retrograde. Okay, so all of this together, the Cazimi moment is actually the moment where Venus is receiving an update from the sun. Okay, I can't tell which is exactly the point of what happens to Inanna when she goes to the underworld. Well, basically, the journey of Inanna to the underworld, which is the Venus retrograde, okay, the morning star descends to the underworld and being born as an evening star, is basically her. She needs to remove an item of clothing or jewelry, or what makes her glorious, because she's very glorious, and until she meets her sister naked. But it's not only enough that she meets her sister naked, her sister commands to torture her and kill her. And there were two genderless people, beings that were sent to appease Ereshkigal, and they were asked to empathize with her grief and come with the juice of life or whatever to save Inanna. And so they sent two people that did not have a gender, that Ereshkigal would not have a reason to antagonize them as maybe offenders, maybe people who hurt her. Like, they have no side to the story, and they're mediators. And this is a successful thing. Okay, eventually Inanna is being brought back from the underworld. The story for Venus, the astrological story, is basically that up until the Cazimi, Venus is doing Inanna's descent to the underworld. The Cazimi perhaps could be seen as that moment where is the most potent, the strongest, where basically we have a purification process of also Inanna here, and of Ereshkigal, because Ereshkigal receives empathy to her grief. So Inanna is eventually not dead, but the Venus is being born as an evening star, okay? And so Venus will still hold the energy, the being of Ereshkigal, which basically, and I think Gracia Casio gives a very clear explanation of that, that the Venus is Ereshkigal, Venus is an evening star, sides with the people who lost the war. Okay, so it's basically not only accompanying people to the underworld, but also siding up with the people who lost the battle, who lost the war. So she has a very important role in mediating the world, because you think about having war, having a battle, somebody lost this battle, what do you do then? Okay, you don't torture and kill them, right? And so siding up with the people who lost the war can actually prevent an escalating cycle of violence. Yeah, that there is mercy, there is release from the fate of being tortured. And that is the general story, so that you get the disclaimer of what I'm talking about. And as I was going on Facebook today, I have Venus in the 3rd house, and so this rules both neighbors or siblings or maybe sisterhood. And it was actually one of the people that I know who is a public relation and advertising person, and she had a very difficult story. She escaped an unhealthy marriage, and her husband took her children to Switzerland, and he destroyed her business, and he tried to hospitalize her, okay, to make her crazy. And as this happened to her, she realized what is going over many people who are either seeking help from the psychiatric world or are being forced into tag psychiatric in a way that disempowers them, so that they won't be a part of their own industries. And as she did, she managed to work, and she worked at first for minimum wage, and then she funded another business, and she said, I'm going to take down worldwide all the lies, all these things that I've seen. I'm going to expose everything. I'm going to change the ability to access audiences, so that those people that try to do these things, those people that try to use psychiatric attack as violence rather than as help, will not have access to people in general, to the masses. So she got a hate comment, and that hate comment was about a man who wrote a story, a short story, and the story that he wrote was of a lady named Innanas, which in Hebrew means gone. And I don't know the Ugaritic or the Babylonian languages and Assyrian languages, but in Hebrew Innanas means gone. And I didn't think about anything. And the story was basically, and this is trigger warning, everything. Do mind that my entire channel is a trigger warning, okay? So this, I don't want you to say, oh, it's safe, she didn't say trigger. No. I talk about it in other times. Anyway, it's a story about a lady that was invaded by a criminal, and that criminal basically tried to rape her. And I didn't read the whole story, but I said I must protect from this energy, so I called Mother Go, and I made ceremony to basically return to sender all the energy that either him or any person like him sends. And I began to write story after story after story after story that's not related necessarily to him at all, about all of these he sings, and those stories are of the 22 degree. I have a lot of spirit on the 22 degree, and about different deaths that happen to people, more like justice being served in a certain way, and then like cleansing, kind of like cleansing death, kind of like Kali energy, Algol energy. And I started watching, Chris Brennan uploaded the episode with Dimitra George, and I said I'm going to go through the Cazimi with it. And as I'm watching the first few minutes, they didn't even get to talk about the story, and I was like, Inanna. He wrote about Inanna. I'm like, oh my God, today is the Cazimi. And the Cazimi story is basically, what the story that he wrote is basically Inanna being tortured. Inanna being tortured or raped and killed by a villain. And the first thing I thought after I like talked about it was like, darling, it was a man who wrote it. I was like, darling, you're not the Resh Pigal. You're not the Resh Pigal. But I could not ignore that he used the word Inena to mean gone. And the thing that he wrote about this, it was not like, he write in a hate comment. He was getting into the psychological experience of being raped, trying to bring in this experience on my colleague, okay, on this person who wrote the post. And of course, this is not a return to sender that I wish upon anybody, right? It's not a return to sender. My colleague, by the way, was very, very bright. She said, she told him, should I tell my bodyguards? But then she said to me later, she said, no, he is divine being, he's a good man. But he was indoctrinated with so much fear that he is projected onto me. I said, I will not return to him in fear. I will return to him in love, because I'm not with the energy of fear. I'm like, okay, that's very brave. I called on alcohol. And it's black alcohol, if you're wondering. So, dark alcohol, black alcohol, basically that one that seeks out the energy and does a return to sender. And I could not ignore how that was coinciding. We basically wrote a version on the story of Inanna, except it's like, darling, you are not a Resh Kigal. And that was kind of like, whoa, that happened. Okay? So this Cazimi moment, while this Cazimi moment is very bright, it illuminates, and everybody was looking forward to the Venus Cazimi. It's also still the energy of Venus retrograde. It's still the energy of Inanna descent to the underworld and being born as the evening star, as a Resh Kigal that sides with the people who are losing in the war. To what Gracia Tasio regarding this rebirth of Venus, she is less strong here. But if I think about people like this man that try to take the role of a Resh Kigal and execute Inanna, and basically write about the experience of a woman that is being raped, and to bring this experience upon someone who is actually coming to defend people who are raped. Also men, not just women, okay? And so this is, if I think about this type of people, like him, as the losers in the war, I understand why a Resh Kigal in here is not so strong. You know what I mean? Because the Resh Kigal's energy can bring a person to the underworld, but she can also bring the person to the underworld. And if it's that type of a person that what the person is going through if they are raped, now you try to bring that experience onto the person. It's not just like you're angry and you say something and you don't know even what it means. You know what it means, you know the experience, and then you try to bring this experience onto the person. This is not a person that I would not be surprised if a Resh Kigal doesn't put so much effort to side up with him if he's losing the war. Okay? And that is also something we must remember in this situation. All of this, Lilith is exactly trining Aries right now. So Aries is not unlike Ereshkigal. She was also the woman who, the lady is a Trump. She was not real. She was not pretending for anybody, um, and she was not invited to the party. Okay, again, but she decided to act differently. If Ereshkigal became the queen of the underworld and accompanied people who were outcasts, who were marginal, basically dying because they didn't have a tribe, Aries did something different, no less potent. And she said, I'm going to cause, she's the goddess of discord, I'm going to cause a discord within the tribe. So she sends a Trojan horse, okay, it's just called basically the Trojan War. She sends a Trojan horse, and she puts people up against each other. This will fight with this, that will fight with that, you know. This is why people, I heard, yeah, never mind. People also consider her that she could be presented as narcissism, okay? Because if you think about narcissistic people, they pit up people against each other, but this is not the role of Aries. Aries is the divine role where the tribe is doing something horrid, and Aries puts in a Trojan horse so that people begin to go into a chaos, and out of this chaos, a new order that is more reasonable, especially when she's in Aries. Okay, talking Aries in Aries is being formed out of this. So it's kind of like her role is kind of like to expose the way in which we have been redundant, in which we have not been going deep, in which we have prejudice. And the best way to work with Aries is to ask and set intention to be able to change with ease, to be able to laugh at ourselves with ease. Okay? And in this context, I want to tell a story. So when I was Me Too veteran, I wrote a satire. And in the satire, it was all about the intergenerational stuff and how the indoctrination of men they are being taught all kind of weird things about women, how that affect their penises, and so on and so forth. And then one night, I was going to sleep, and I remember the person who was offender, okay? But he was not only an offender, he was also a person. And when he tried to gain my trust and so on and so forth, then he told me, you must go to the United States, you must go do the degree right now. I was in my 30s, and so you must not wait to go to do this. And he said, no, don't be afraid to leave the family, to leave this, you must go, you must study. And so I began to, basically I was using amphetamines, I was beginning to use amphetamines to try and save money on food, so to start myself and to save money to go to my PhD, basically. And you're saying this is a person that is okay, he was not doing in my favor. But unfortunately, he was also a part of an unhealthy tribe, okay, like a cult. And then the cult was taking the game, and all the things that he would talk bad about women, they began to interfere. So the thing is that after I left, after I wrote the satire and so, or during the satire, one night I have a dream. And in this dream, I see his energy coming up with tiny little scissors, and it looks like he's going to cut my big toe. And I was angry. And at the same time, I had a dream. He liked one football group, soccer group, with the color red. And I had a dream that he was wearing the color that he was playing for the wrong team. He would like sports a lot. And so I had a dream he was playing for the wrong team, and it is going to kill him if he plays for the wrong team. Okay, like if he plays for the tribe or the human traffickers. And I had a dream like his energy coming like with scissors. And I didn't understand this at all. And I said, no, what is this? Get out, go away. Like saying, go away. And only after a while, I went to do my pedicure. And I had, when the nail is ingrown, and say, but Shirley, how is it related to Aries? This is the role of Aries. She says, okay, you wrote all this satire. You showed this person that the problem they had with the penis, that they confessed, the problems they had with the penis was not because of the age, it was not because of the wrong food, but it was because they were thinking bad thoughts about women, and then maybe they were coming from dopamine and not vasopressin, which is what helps men, operate and enjoy sex in a way that is healthy and nourishing for them, or people with penises, okay, women with penises probably as well. But in the same way, you also have something to learn. You are not progressing, you are going in the wrong directions in life. What makes you stuck here? Go do something with your life, okay? And I'm still working on it. I'm still working to gather my forces and to try and see where and how. But this is the role of Aries. Everybody learns. Everybody learns about themselves. It's a big war, it's a big chaos, it's a big discord, but everybody has something to learn about themselves, okay? It's like not only you need to correct them, but also you need to correct yourself. And this is, it's a very chaotic energy, okay? Because she created the Trojan War. It was a war, okay? But in war, I want to take you to something that I actually learned, what I learned with that offender. In the world wars, there were ceasefires. And during the ceasefires, there were the famous soccer games between the different troops for the different countries. And so people would play soccer at the ceasefire. Later, they would shoot in the air. And so the regime had to replace the soldiers because the war would not sustain. And that teaches us something very, very important. We think people tend to fight each other, tend to quarrel. No. It is not this true. You fight with someone, then you begin to understand and you begin to learn about yourself. And then you play, it's a play, it's an interaction, it's a play. You play together, your energy meets each other. Eventually you must understand that in order to not destruct yourself, you must grow something beautiful. Not to destruct the enemy. Okay? So we have this Venus Cazimi, with Innanas descent to the underworld. And at the same time, we also have this Lilith trining Aries, stripping us of all of our prejudice around sexuality, around penises, around vaginas, around men, around gender, around medical procedures to do, like a technology to do with gender, okay, around the many interests that are involved, around fertility, trans people, whatnot, like the everything of the anything of the everything of it. And Aries will take all of your prejudice and she would basically, it's like when you make a statue, okay? Then you have a clay. And then you remove this and you remove that and you remove that and you remove that until you see the whole statue, you see the whole picture. Aries helps you or assists you or shakes you up to remove the excess clay until the statue is being formed. And now you see things with more clarity. After an Aries transit, you see things with more clarity. It takes a lot of time because Aries takes 500 and something years. I think S.J. Anderson and Dan waits for that. She takes 500 and something years to go through the zodiac. Okay, if Venus takes, 2 years tops, then, no, 2 years is Mars. Venus is 1 year and something, then 500, right? Okay, the moon takes 28 years. Just to compare the cycles. And so, an Aries transit is indeed very long. We discovered her, I think, in 2003, and she was in Aries, 15 or 14 degrees Aries. Now she's in 24 degrees Aries, retrograde, or maybe 23 already, retrograde. And so, as she is retrograding, we are rethinking. We're getting new information, rethinking, and then we will be able to establish a strategy. And to another Lord of Discord, it's kind of like there are new things to think about. So we are both dealing with vengeance and revenge, okay? Justice, and I want to invite you to think about something underneath vengeance or the desire for revenge. There is a desire to change. the way things are. Okay, revenge, underneath that is the desire to change. Because what is revenge? Is causing a crisis. And what does the crisis intend to do? It tends to transform a person so that they won't do it again. Even if you think about the scorpionic kind of element, the sting, it is something that you inject from within the person, and they're contracting to the within, and they're being transformed either to their death, so to the other world, or they're just being transformed because they're being like stung from within, and they're being like, this is the desire. But of course, if you do it in excess, if you do it with the wrong people, they don't understand what you want from them, and you don't get the change that you desire. This is where we need to do the scorpionic thing of stripping the vengeance and revenge into the essence of this thing, and that is the desire to change. And so how to bring about this desire to change, how to bring about this change in a way that is potent, okay? That is underneath the vengeance. This is underneath those desires. It's like, I want to get, I want to make him feel the way he makes me feel, because then what? Because then they will understand me. Because then they will validate me. Because then they'll see, oh, I've done something wrong. It's not what's actually going to happen if they feel the way you feel. But underneath, if you get the understanding that I want the desire to change, to transform the way this person interacts with people. I want the desire to change, to transform the way, the bond that we want to be. I want to be seen and understood. I want to be valued and appreciated. And I want to make sure that my boundaries are being respected. Okay? And so this vengeance or the venom is not necessarily good or bad. It's just if you use it at the right amount with the right people at the right time. Okay? So we have Lilith and Aries trying each other. Okay? And who is Lilith? Lilith was Adam's first wife, but the thing is, she said, I want to live beside you. I don't want to live above you, nor do I seek to live underneath you. Okay? I want to live beside you. But Adam says, no, you are a part of me. You will do as I say. You are this, you are that. She said, no, darling, this I'm not ready for. And so the story goes, either she walked away from him, or he, kind of pushed her away. But then the fact that she's alone doesn't mean that she doesn't want to be a mother. And so Lilith is also considered either the kidnapper of children or somebody who kills children. So she's considered a demon. Okay? And we still don't know if she's just like, oh, well, I want some children from my own, so I'll just take some child and grow it. Like, So she was not holding to the morals that put a woman underneath or above. Okay? She's not the matriarch. And this is what people need to understand. She's not Venus in Capricorn. Venus in Capricorn is matriarch. Lilith is not matriarch. She just said, I'm looking to live beside someone. She's not Sappho either. Sappho is lesbian. Okay? Lilith is not saying somebody she can be lesbian, but she's not, she'll even if it's a woman, she seeks to live beside. Okay? Eye level. That's what she seeks. And so when people don't cooperate with her eye level, she doesn't care about their morals because they are immoral to her. It's a different moral. And so why should they raise kids and I cannot raise a kid? You can take their kid, no problem. I will raise the kid better. I will raise him to be equal with people. Humanity was created with, with people, and then they multiply. So I will do the same. I will have a child, I grow him to be, or her to be equal. And this is the Lilith archetype. Okay, she was cast out. But for her, she's not seeking to revenge, as maybe people see revenge, or the revenge and change through the children. It's kind of like, well, I can't do anything about the stupidity of mankind, but hey, those little babies, maybe there's something I can do with that. And she's also the woman who will live beside you, but will not be subordinate to you and will not be above you either. And that is quite important. For example, Venus as Capricorn, Venus has a quarrel with Lilith because Lilith is beside and Venus is matriarchal. And so for Lilith and for Aries, which tries her right now, that Venus in Capricorn is kind of like, well, you just try to do the man thing and consider it feminist. Okay, that's one way to see things, but you're still not solving the problem. You just made the women matriarchs, so they're hurting other women too, and they're hurting men. It's not solution. It's no solution. It's not what we are looking for. We still feel outcast in your world. Okay, so and you know, Venus in Capricorn conjunct Pluto was one of the most difficult times because we had to deal with those women that are matriarchal. Okay, it's kind of like, oh, there we have representation in the parliament, we have this, we have that, and then you see those women are matriarchal, they are for hierarchy, they are not for equality and equity. So those are the very, very active energies right now. And the moon is in 18 degrees Cancer. It will be slowly applying to Procyon actually, but also to oppose Pluto. And so as it conjuncts Procyon, while I will not set a talisman with this energy, it's opposing Pluto, what I would is to call on Procyon. To call on the energy of sweetness. And one person that had Procyon very active in his chart was JFK. Okay, what did JFK do? You say, oh, Shirley, he was assassinated. Okay, everybody dies, okay? But the thing is, Procyon was not necessarily the reason he died. Maybe indirectly. But the thing is, in the Cuban Missile Crisis, where Russia put basically nuclear missiles in Cuba, so next to the United States, he managed to change the map, change the situation with diplomacy and not, go into a nuclear warfare with the entire world. Okay, so that was something that could happen and he managed to avoid it. And he had his midheaven and Saturn conjuncting Procyon. Okay, so think about the power of Procyon as the sweetener of things. And it's not a bad thing, yes, I called on Algol, I called on those energies that you need to counteract, and this is, by the way, by Christopher Warnock. It's a nice shield that you build around yourself. Relatively new talisman with white agate. I do not receive dividends for this. I just love the energy and I like to show it. This is, Andromeda's not for now. It's a great one. It's not for now. Although, yes, it is. Because Andromeda is a great energy to work with for now, actually. Why? Andromeda is basically where Aries is now. The constellation Andromeda, okay? Aries is in Andromeda. And so, Eddie, she's the goddess of discord. What is Andromeda? This constellation is about lasting love, reconciliation. So, if not only romantic, also between friends. If you want world peace, okay, I would definitely go to Andromeda and say, now, to ask of Andromeda, please, can you appease Aries? Can we reach the goals of enlightenment, of illumination, of initiation, whatever it is that Aries is coming to do for humanity? Can we go through this in peace and reconciliation, in great love, in great understanding, rather than, Trojan wars? Like, can we mitigate this energy? Not mitigate, but can we work with Aries in a way that is peaceful? Okay, this is Andromeda, and she's also ruling Rahu now. Okay, so this is a great, great time to turn to Andromeda, to have Andromeda, to work with the energy. So this is the front, and it's a beautiful painting. It's both a bird and like the peace, the olive branch of peace, and it's a face of Andromeda. Okay, with the leaves around her head. So there's something very beautiful, a lot of messages of peace and serenity intertwined here that I really, really love. And we have, yes, this is the painting, and we have the back here, which, oh yeah, and the back here is great and lasting love and reconciliation. So you can also, because she's ruling Rahu, and because she's ruling Aries, we can absolutely turn to her and ask to remedy, to initiate a world peace and autonomy and whatever we desire of Aries in peaceful ways, in great and lasting love and reconciliation, not just romantic. Okay, I work with her because I have the ruler of my 7th and 4th, and it's perfected, and the Rahu is going to be next to it, right next to it, and Aries next to it. So I'm working with Andromedas, like, you know, to make good of these energies. But you can actually invite her in. She's great energy to work with. And I wanted to show you Procyon. I don't know if I have it here. This will be, no, this is Hydra, but I'm going to go. But since we talked about Procyon, this is fixed stars, talismans. This is Spica, but I am looking for, wait, those are lunar mentions. Oh, what did I do? I think I did something wrong. Okay. Yeah, I want a particular, okay, the 15 stars. No, this is Hermes. Yeah, well, you have this all fine things that I'm looking for. But I want to do Procyon. Maybe I will look for it right here. Procyon talisman. Talisman. Now, Procyon is difficult to make right now for a talisman. Oh, this is an old one. Look at that, the rooster. So this is Procyon. And yeah, oh, I like it. So it's basically God will save your soul from anything that's harmful. And you have the symbol of Procyon here, written in Hebrew. So I'm definitely print screening this. But this one is difficult to make right now because modernly because of the opposition to Pluto. Okay. But then because Saturn is by trines, yeah, it trines by sign, so any fixed stars and constellations in Cancer are trining Saturn by sign, and this is a bit problematic. We want to have a clear path to access the energy of these planets, but we can turn to existing talismans and as portals. Okay, as portals through which we can access, we can call on Procyon together with Andromeda to help us and assist us. So definitely when Algol is called, absolutely Algol, Black Dark Algol, absolutely, yes, absolutely. We have the right to assert ourselves, we have the right to live, we have the right to kill those who come to kill us, okay? We have the right to do so. And we also have the right to denucleify ourselves, to denucleify our surroundings, to sweeten, and to have reconciliation and to have peace. Okay, those are not negating things, they're actually complementary. So, this is what I have to say. This is the energy that I have. And as always, if you wonder what my screensaver is, so I can show you. This one is, I don't remember which one of Jupiter. This was Jupiter in Pisces, Biosphere and Sundry. And it has the blue and gold. And I want to tell you about the blue and gold. Actually, around those years, I had a colleague that was teaching holistic health practitioner, and she was channeler. And when I was going, after academia and so on, I had a psychic attack. I just called her, and she said, "You must work with gold and blue, and sift and sort the gold from the sand, gold and blue." and a lot of things were trying to interrupt with this voice and all of that. Um, and then I began to work with similar colors, and now only after I screen saved this, um, so it might be one of the next things that I will buy. And so I'm getting acquainted with the energy. The first thing I felt from this talisman, from the tincture in particular, was that I'm getting my energy back. It was created, if I'm not mistaken, this one too was created after a ceasefire. In our area, we had a ceasefire, and it was around my birthday, so very, very good energy. And Jupiter was in Pisces, of course. I think next to Fomalhaut, which is not too far from my Palacetina, and I felt like this is very, very nice, very calm energy, and very beautiful. So in these areas where we kind of like need to retreat, it is also, if I'm not mistaken, bringing rain. Okay, so you might want to use it for that. I think they still sell it. And this is the gold and the blue rays of Jupiter in Pisces. You see the cloud daddy, they call it cloud daddy. So bringing rain, and it's also bringing, so to bring abundance. I just use it to calm the fuck down. Okay, I just use it to calm the fuck down. So this is my screensaver for today. And thank you for watching. I hope you have a calm Venus Cazimi. Let's just take a look at the energies. Yeah, let's just take a look at the energies. Where do we have what? Current planets. Yes, so Venus hour already with the exact Cazimi. Venus is already at 20 degrees and 26 minutes. The Sun is 20 degrees 31 minutes. And so we are pretty much after the heart of hearts of hearts of hearts of hearts of Venus in the heart of the Sun. And she is about to be reborn as the evening star, as a Reshkigal. This was, okay, while Lilith is still very much trining Aries, so we have two outcast ladies agrees that a change is needed and they work in harmony with each other. So I told you Procyon, I told you Andromeda, which is incredibly potent for now for what we need, especially since Spica is kind of like with Ketu. So we can call on Spica to help us with Ketu, but we can also call on Andromeda. We can also call on Procyon. And I hope you're going through this transit with relative ease. I adopt the Caitlin Kapok's suggestion of plenty of salt baths and cleansing stuff. If you're her client, then you have received probably the site. For those who are listening now, I'm not getting like dividends from that. It's just stuff that I use and I share. So it's not interfering with monetization of this video. So the Venus Cazimi stuff is, Venus is still retrograde, okay? She is not Cazimi, she's still retrograde. She's still potent. We are still doing rethinking of things. She is still appearing as the evening star. And she's going, the day she's going direct, I thank Kyra Ryback for this, the day Venus is going direct, Jupiter, that is in Venus sign, is going retrograde. It makes sense, okay? Venus is our values, Jupiter is our beliefs. If we changed our values, because we saw practically certain things just don't work, they need to change, it's time to take a look at our worldview, at our beliefs, and update it. So it's not something that is unreasonable, but it's also something that's quite uneasy, because that's a lot of these are the two benefics. So Venus is the joy of living, and in the sense of sensual pleasure, enjoying the material things, connections, and Jupiter is the joy of living in the sense of growing something beautiful, bringing abundance, and also enjoying life, eating sweets and stuff. So having fortune, is Jupiter. Okay, so it's good opportunities, fortune, like happy-go-lucky is Jupiter. And so both of them are going through something. Yes, but we will come out of it, and as we do come out of it, we are going to come up with rejuvenated values and rejuvenated beliefs. So yes, and because Jupiter is going to be retrograde in Venus sign, of course it's going to affect Venus operation even as she goes throughout, and even as she shines again as the morning star. That's just the passage of things. Definitely there is a lot to do. So far things that happened, there were quite some issues, okay? Venus and Lilith were, and still are, squaring Uranus on the 22nd degree of Taurus. It is the degree of to kill and be killed, okay, according to Nicholas Stoyanovich degrees theory. That can be seen as kind of like that man that I talked about that wrote this story about murder and rape of a woman in her house named Innanas. So those type of threats, but it can also be stories, songs, revolutions, and whatnot. As a native with a lot of spirit on the 22nd degrees, basically means that my response is kind of like a return to sender, which is deadly. If you send something deadly, the return to sender is deadly. Nothing I can do about it, nor do I wish to. Okay, you're gonna get what you send back. It's no problem. You can repent. But other than that, it's like if you're stuck to your own ways and you want to send deadly things to people for no reason, then you're gonna get it back. Okay, that's the lot of spirit. It's the response to something. The 22nd degree is kind of like you're just like kind of pointing the gun back at the person who pointed the gun and pressing the trigger. So to kill. So this is the way I experience it. But for people who don't have like a personal point, or like especially the lot of spirit, which is a response, here people have like the lot of fortune here, as they say, you know, amor fati, I don't know, maybe you are killing somebody else, but maybe you are dying, or there is some physical issues that is deadly, I don't know, but it's caused by someone intentionally. On the mundane level, it's a lot of revolutions, protests, and technology that can be deadly. By the way, I saw a video about processed food, about processed meat, which is basically supposedly cruelty-free meat. It is not, because they take stem cells from animals, which is cruel, is done in a cruel way. But it also the cells that they take so that they can grow from the animals, they add to it cancer cells. And you say, but surely there's no problem to eat cancer cells. It's not like cancer growing in your body. I'm the first to be saying, oh, well, we need to consider that. Unfortunately, it is not healthy to your body to eat cancer cells. Like, yes, they constantly grow. You can absolutely grow things with them. And there is safe reason to assume that we already are having it in the meat and perhaps the fruits and veggies that we have today. But definitely in the like meat product, if you think that meat is a cool thing, then I invite you to try and live in Greenland for I don't know how long and be vegan. If you survive this, then and you're healthy, you're not going to go outdo yourself, then okay. We need veggies and greens. We usually need animal products that are actually good too, but it's true that they are not accessible. It's very true. So this is Venus Cazimi for today. Those were the energies. I just had to jump up and tell you about this Innanas story. Like I said, people who use this energy to, if you use this energy to threaten someone that didn't do to you anything, doesn't matter this life, that in this life, did this person do something to you? Okay, we're living in this life. Pluto is in Saturn sign. Okay, we're composting karma. In this life, did this person do something bad to you? If not, there's no reason. Yeah, it's no reason to threaten them. No reason to threaten them. You put your hatred on them. But what is possible instead is to take this to whomever you, or what you believe it, your unconscious, your higher self, the gods, and to ask and to take the energy out of your body in a field or in a place that is safe. There's not anybody. Ask to alchemize this energy. Ask for the right things. Okay, ask for your boundaries to be asserted. If it is reason you are violent to people, okay, but you know, it's not. This is not good to do this, because the back to sender here, what you send to this other person, they're not going to do anything with that, but point the mirror at you, so you get it back. And so the back to sender is very, very difficult if you're sending very, very difficult energy. You send somebody the experience of rape, you get the back to sender is you experiencing this. Rape and date, rape and murder, you want to experience rape and murder while you are alive? Really? Okay? And if you do, then you ask this from God. You don't need to put it on, you don't need to people to interact with this. So it's a very, 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 very unhappy return to sender. But I said, because of the name Innanas, I said, oh, this is the Venus Cazimi. So, and he was sending this, right? I saw this around the Venus Cazimi. I was like, oh, okay. Of course, I blocked. Of course, I called it on goal. Of course, I did return to sender. And of course, I said that person will be encouraged to repent. It's not like to be cruel to people, so that he can change. So yeah, he was very, very lucky though. Very lucky, because neither me, neither the person he sent this to are cruel people. So very, very lucky. The energies that operate here are not all, they don't take no hostages. So, you know, but still, if he sent this, he gets this back, unless he repents and unless he changes. And I bless this person with the ability to change easily and to unroot this behavior from his psyche and to change and to have a good life. So yes, thank you for watching.